Let me, on behalf of the government and the good people of Enugu State, warmly congratulate you all for your well-deserved victories. I followed your campaign, and I also heard all that you said and promised the people. So now, the time you did talk the talk is over. And I'm also going to add that the honeymoon is also over. It is now time to walk the talk. What you've done here today, it's executing your own part of the social contract that you have with the people. Those promises that you made to them, this is now time to action them. And I can tell you, it will not interest them to hear why you cannot solve the problems. So saying things like, I didn't know that this was the magnitude of the problem we're coming to deal with, will not be acceptable. What the people expect to see or to hear is how and when you can solve the problem that have blighted their development over the years. And so, this is now time for you to think outside the box. I hear a lot of you making allusion to our mantra, our catchphrase, tomorrow is here. So I'll tell you what tomorrow is here speaks to. It speaks to the immediacy of the task before us. So it speaks to how we can immediately get to solving those tasks without shifting them to tomorrow. So we cannot procrastinate. We cannot move to tomorrow what we can do today. It also reminds us that the tomorrow we envision, it's within our grasp, but just to the extent that we're able to innovate. So whereas we've had a system that had served us over the years, but that system also has produced an incremental or a piecemeal growth model. The rest of the world is taking giant strides. So incremental or piecemeal or marginal growth model is no longer able to serve our people. That's why we're now talking about disruptive innovation. So you need to begin to think about, how do I creatively generate wealth, create employment? How do I ensure that I have enough money to be able to cater for all the developmental challenges within my local government? What you've done here today is that undertaking, that you're going to lead people's focused government. The people would be at the centerpiece of your governance model. You have to nurture a sense of inclusion, and you have to banish feelings of alienation. So you're not going to say, I would only cater for people who have voted for me. You have to think about, now you're the chairman of everybody. You're the leader and the head of government in that local government. So everybody looks up to you. And don't forget, as we say in Enugu, we're only as good as our weakest link. So that means that we need to make sure that we have everybody on board. We have to think about, first of all, to guarantee and ensure that we have peace and security in our various local governments. We have zero tolerance for crime in Enugu State. Because if you're thinking about, and I'm sure a lot of you are already thinking about how to attract cottage industries to your various local governments, they won't come if you don't have peace and security. And just as we did barely an hour after being sworn in 15 months ago, the first executive order that I signed was the Citizens Charter. It was a charter that speaks to how we can provide transparent, accountable governance, how we can engage the people in the governance process, how we can be held to account the way we spend the people's money, and how we engage them to be able to give them our scorecard and get feedback from them and look at ways we can improve on the things we're doing. So this is what I'm charging you, and I'm rousing you all this morning to know that we have to connect with what is happening at the state level. And to make it very effective, we need to cascade it to the grassroots. It needs to get to the very poor. Our belief in Enugu State is that nobody, no child, no family should be left behind. We're all very important, and we need to create platform for our children to be able to express the best version of themselves. That we're already doing through the Smart Green School program, which I hope would act as a platform to anchor a lot of your developments. Because those smart schools, we need access roads to them. We need to be able to ensure that they act as a point of feeding the cottage industries that hopefully we're able to attract. Another area to look at is, of course, the provision of basic amenities. We're already working with you to ensure that we have built across all the electoral wards in our state type 2 primary healthcare centers. The interesting thing about the primary healthcare centers, it also comes with the staff quarters, because the major challenge we have with our primary health care centers is largely understaffed, and we also do not find the healthcare personnel when we are sick. So our objective is to make sure that we have healthcare personnel 24/7. So just recently, we approved the recruitment of over 2,000 healthcare personnel, which include the community healthcare extension workers, the nurses, the midwives, and of course, the doctors as well. Things like water in a 21st century, we really shouldn't have any community that does not have access to potable water. And so it will be our duty to ensure that every community, indeed every home, is not more than 5-minute walk from potable water access. So we should think about a number of other basic amenities. Rural electrification. We shouldn't have a community without power. And we should also be thinking about other renewable energy. We have challenges across all the sectors. Your job as leaders would not be to dwell so much on those challenges. It's to be thinking outside the box on how to solve them. But you cannot do that remotely. You can't do that operating from the city. You have to be there with your people. So the era where we have local government or their deputies leading their people remotely or by proxy is gone. We would have no tolerance for local government chairmen who do not govern or rule from their local government. The people have to know that you're there. You have to go through the pains with them. You have to share it with them. You have to work with them to develop strategies, to develop solutions that would solve the problem. That's all they want to hear. How and when these problems will be solved, not that they are there. So while I again congratulate you all for these well-deserved history and of course victory and your swearing in this morning, I want us to know that we've also undertaken a huge burden, which hopefully we want to look back few years from now and be very proud of the various roles we played. And we're not going to be proud because we heralded or we want to be heralded as change makers, but because we did what we did because it was the right thing to do. So on that note, I want to congratulate you all once again, and I wish you well.